Let me shut my closet. I've been waiting all morning to film this video, but they've been doing some sort of work in our pool area, so I haven't been able to. And we're doing it. We're here now. And today, we're talking about books. I've been really into reading lately, and it's something I feel like I haven't had much time for in the past couple years, but now that I'm graduated, I'm like back into it. I think I've read like 3.5 books so far this year, which I think is like one a month, right? January, February, March, April, yeah. So hopefully I'll wrap up this book, the book I'm reading now, by the end of April, and I'll be at 4 and it'll be great. But I just wanted to talk about today some of my favorite books that I have here with me in my college apartment. My assortment of books here is a little limited, but I wanted to go through the ones that I have that have just stuck with me, that have just made an impact on me, and ones that I've loved. The first book I have is called All Things Move by Jeannie Marshall. This is a book that I got while I was studying abroad in Rome. Summer of 2023. I studied abroad in Rome, and I was there for 5 weeks, and it was incredible. And I was lucky enough to where I had some electives, so while I was there, I took poetry and I took art history. So we had kind of like guest authors come in for our poetry class every once in a while, and this was one of the guest authors, was Jeannie Marshall, and she just came and kind of talked about this book, and it's pretty much about her experiences in Rome and her relation to the Sistine Chapel, because the Sistine Chapel is the like beautiful Roman chapel in Vatican City. I believe it's done by Michelangelo. It's that beautiful big church with the ceiling, like it's that girl. And so it's just kind of about her stories of like existing in Rome and kind of like learning how to appreciate those pieces of work without being religious, because I think a lot of them are so rooted in Catholicism that it is really hard to interpret them sometimes if you don't know what you're looking at or if you don't relate to it. This was kind of the perfect mesh of both the classes I took that summer, and therefore I just thought it was really special. And she's a really beautiful author, and I was lucky enough to have her sign it, so I have a little signed copy, and coffee. There's some artwork in here as well, like she includes some images from Rome and images of the Sistine Chapel, and yeah, it just is really reminiscent of that time, and it is also beautiful writing. It's definitely a great book. I think she's an independent, like small author. Like I think this is maybe her first publication, so always great to support. My next book is the book I kind of default to when someone asks me what my favorite book is or what my favorite movie is, and that is Call Me By Your Name. This book is so beautifully written. I remember watching this movie in the midst of COVID and just feeling I've never had a movie make me feel that way before, and I feel like I really haven't had a movie make me feel that way since. So after watching the movie, I picked up the book, and the book is even more special and beautifully done, and yeah, I just think it's such a sweet story of just like true love, like beyond the bounds of gender and arguably age, although there are some boundaries there that we maybe shouldn't cross. Yeah, and I just think the setting of Italy is like what a romantic place to be, and really well done. I like this one a lot. The next book I have is a little poetry book. It's The Orange by Wendy Cope, and I love poetry. I love reading poetry, I love writing poetry. Even before I took my poetry class in Rome, I've always had like an affinity for poetry. And I find it hard, I think, to invest in poetry books just because A, they're always very small, and B, it's just such a quick read. You go through it once and you might annotate, you might go through it again, and then there's not much more to it. However, this book, I think, just has some really wonderful modern poetry in it. And I think as like a 20-year-old woman, there's a lot of themes and stories in here that are A, beautifully done and very well written, especially in poetry, and B, super relatable. She doesn't shy away from current themes, I guess. She's just very honest, and she brings up things like texting and calling, and like I think a lot of poetry, because it's so romantic, tends to either lean more towards nature or lean more towards like intellectualism, and I can really appreciate when a poet brings in some modern themes and topics and keeps it really, really relatable. So, and it's one of the first poetry books that I have annotated. That was really fun to do and to practice as well. So next, this one is kind of a funny pick. It's House Fires by Connor Franta, and I have loved Connor Franta for a very long time. Back in like the O2L days, like I loved Connor Franta, and to this day I love Connor Franta's content. This book was a book that I got probably middle school. I had already read Note to Self, and I don't think I really like grasped Note to Self when I read it because I was pretty young, but I remember reading this one specifically and really just feeling understood and seen, and it's not for everyone. I know people have opinions on this book, and it's kind of an accumulation of his photography and poems and things like that. So this one has a special place in my heart. So House Fires by Connor Franta. Okay, next is another one that I wouldn't necessarily recommend for someone who's looking for a really intellectual read. This had an impact on me in my young adolescence, and that's why it's here with me, and that is The Summer I Turned Pretty. Of course, has to be here. This, I think, is one of the first romance series I read, probably other than To All the Boys. Very similar vein there, but this one really, I feel like to this day, love that story. I'm so excited for season 3 of the show to come out, and yeah, I think it's a really easy read. It's really cute. I just think it just brings you back to like teen adolescence and teen romance and the things that you valued then versus the things you value now, and for that I will always really, really appreciate this book, and I'm Team Conrad forever and ever and ever and ever. Okay, this one is not a profound take. The Great Gatsby. I remember being forced to read this in high school and not enjoying it whatsoever when I read it then. I think any assigned reading I had in high school, I was like, no, I'm okay, thanks. But in revisiting this in my young adulthood, what a beautiful story, right? I don't know, I guess just the whole idea of Gatsby throwing parties over and over again just in hopes of like the one person he likes showing up. Like, I think we've all been there in different ways, and sorry, pause for bus. I think it's important to revisit books without like a teacher kind of breathing down your neck. Like, what's the symbolism for using a instead of the in this sentence? Like, that is not, in my opinion, what reading is about. The green light symbolism, I can't do it. I can't do it. Sure, there might be some, like, there might be symbolism there, but there's so much more. There's so much more to unpack and to appreciate and read into. We don't gotta talk about the green light for 5 days. This one, in revisiting it, is definitely very special to me, and I think it's just a beautiful story. It's a classic for a reason. So, and then finally, lastly but definitely not leastly, probably the book that has made me feel the closest to how I felt with Call Me By Your Name when I read it for the first time, is The Song of Achilles. I was a Greek mythology kid. Me and my sister both. We loved Percy Jackson. We both did like mythology projects, I think for like some key program in like elementary school. This was kind of my return to Greek mythology since like Percy Jackson, probably. Yeah, just beautiful writing from Madeline Miller. Beautiful. Yeah, I think there's something about telling a story about like two men falling in love that I think a lot of women appreciate, because it's a different side. Like, it's a different kind of man that we're so not used to, and to see them love so unabashedly and unforgivingly or unapologetically is probably a better word for that. The storytelling is so wonderful, especially if you know the story of Achilles. This is such a cool perspective to hear and to learn from and understand that, like, you know, his partner was his better half in some ways, and yeah, I don't know, I just love this book. This is one that, like, you don't have to be like a romance reader to appreciate this book, for sure. I think there's definitely some books that I've showed, like The Summer I Turned Pretty. If you don't like romance, you're not gonna like that book. I think this book, there's a lot to take away from it for a lot of different readers, and therefore this is definitely one of my favorites. Those are all my books. Those are all my favorite books that I have with me right now, and there's definitely so many more that are on the list, and there are so many more that overtake this list completely. But I wanted to do the ones that I had with me because they're the ones that I've read probably most recently, and therefore I wanted to give you like a good understanding of the things that I read and I appreciate and all that good stuff. I will say, I love a physical book. I do kind of want to get a Kindle though. So if anyone has any strong feelings towards Kindle or no Kindle, I gotta figure that out. I've been loving reading this year, and I'm reading currently. I guess I'll show you what I'm reading now. I am reading, I think I said this in my last vlog, but I'm reading Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. And this one's been a pretty good book so far as well. I'm kind of in a dip right now where I'm like not picking it up as much, but we'll see. Hopefully I'll finish it up. And then my next book is Beach Read by Emily Henry. So if you have book recommendations based off the ones I showed you today that you think I would like, I would love those. I love getting book recommendations from people. That's about it. I'm so glad we made it through this whole video without the power washing in the pool. Thank you so much for watching, as always. I really do appreciate it. It means the world to me. If you're watching and you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. I don't know, I don't want to be like that girl that's like subscribe and comment and everything, but it does mean a lot to me, and I've been really enjoying making these videos. Next week's gonna be kind of a fun video because I'm going to vlog our Easter. My sister is hosting me and Ashley, so we're gonna go down to Denver and have Easter dinner, and it's also an F1 race day that day, so I'll probably vlog part of me watching it. I'm so excited. Next week's vlog will be a fun one. F1 race and Easter and all that good stuff. Happy reading. Can't recommend it enough if you don't read right now. I truly believe that's just because you haven't found your genre yet, or you haven't found like your book that like gets you into it. That sounded like there was like a fucking monkey outside. I'll see you soon. I'll see you next week, and love ya. Bye.